Podcast.
One more time.
All right, guys, welcome to the Dynasty Fam Podcast. Hope your week 10 is going well. It was a great week. For some of us, it was a great week. For some of us, it was a okay week. If you have Cooper Cup, you're holding your breath right now. So, Caleb, how you doing? How you doing in your league?
Doing good, man. Jimmy G might be coming through for me. We'll see. I'm checking in on him right now.
Yeah.
Still the third quarter right now, but got me a rushing TD, so I'm liking that so far. Hopefully, if he overachieves his expectations, right, or his projections, then I should be good.
Yeah, you lost Stafford, right? Talking about so
Yeah,
we just made a trade. I traded you Jimmy G for a 2023 second. So I thought it was a pretty fair trade. Somebody who needs a quarterback.
yeah. One QB
So
league.
yeah, so I thought it was a good little trade. I'll take
Yeah.
this 2023 second, see hopefully get somebody good. So yeah, man, welcome to the show, guys. We're gonna talk a lot of different games, some stats, some players that we like, some things that we didn't like. So we'll get started right away with our first lead. Has to be the RB1 on the week, the guy that we just told you to go and buy low. We've been saying it, but this week we just felt it in the plums that he was going to come in and have a good. He was going to have a good game, right? He has a coaching change. The coach is gone. We knew that the morale was going to be there. The team was going to come and put forth a good effort. Matt Ryan is back. Their offense just looked better. And with no Naheem Hines, right? Naheem Hines has always been kind of the thorn in JT's side. He's gone. Deion Jackson's hurt. We had a feeling that JT was going to have a big game, and he definitely came through for us. He had 147 yards rushing, a couple of catches out of the backfield, so hopefully that will improve. But he did get a TD, and also should have had a second TD. Man, he got stopped at the goal line on one of those catches early in the first quarter, and I was hoping that they would run it with JT. They quarterback sneak with Matt Ryan, so those always suck. But still, 24.3 points, great showing. RB1 on the week. He looked awesome.
Yeah, Colts offense definitely looked better, man, with Matt Ryan, and it was good to see JT, right, because he was coming off of that ankle injury. We weren't sure, but he had the full practice, and he even ripped off a big run. Looked like vintage JT that we saw last year. I think it was like a 66-yard or something like that. So definitely good to see. We did feel it coming, right? Raiders were just a perfect opportunity for him to get right, giving up the eighth most fantasy points to RB position. So we did like him as a buy low. And if you did get him, you're definitely feeling good about it right now. So JT definitely looked good. And along with that, with Matt Ryan being back, we also saw Parris Campbell, man, might be a thing again. Right. We know early on with Matt Ryan, him and Matt Ryan just had a good connection. He was getting a lot of targets, got you 20 fantasy points today for Mr. Parris Campbell. I think it was like 7 for 70. Yeah, 9 targets. So definitely good to see if you're a Paris Campbell owner. He's probably back on the waiver wire again, but he's probably going to be a popular waiver wire name and add, especially with Matt Ryan back in the offense.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Just checking right now on Sleeper, he is 28% rostered, so he's probably going to be on our show tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you said it, man. Like, everybody just kind of has, some life breathed into them with Matt Ryan coming back and Jeff Saturday, new coach. The team just played well, man. They played
Yeah.
well. I mean, the
They were
Raiders do
fired up.
stink, but
They were
yeah, they were
fired up for
fired
that
up.
win. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's looking promising. We'll see. We still have some bye weeks, some teams still on bye. So Paris Campbell in a pinch. If you need somebody, right? If you lost Cooper Cup, if you lost other receivers, right? You're still out Marquise Brown or Keenan Allen or some other key guys. Maybe Paris Campbell, somebody can throw in your flex.
Yep.
All right. So our next big story is James Conner back from the dead, right? He's
Yep.
been terrible all year. Not somebody I'm very high on, but he is somebody that I thought, well, just because of where he was being drafted, right?
Yeah.
He was being drafted relatively high. And it just seems like he's one of those guys that whenever we have big expectations for him, he underperforms. And when there's not a lot of expectation, that's when he really does well. And so it's good to see he's back, had a solid game. I think he had 2 touchdowns. Was it over 100 yards rushing?
No, it was but it was 20 plus carries, right? And then it was like 69 yards, I think.
Yeah, so a big game for him. And it's good to see, right? And it's interesting too because a lot of Colts guys did good, man. I mean, a lot of the Cardinals guys, excuse me, did good, man. And that's with Colt McCoy, you know. So it just goes to show you that's just a good offense, Cliff Kingsbury, he does get kind of a lot of flack sometimes for play calling and thing, but those guys produce, man. Whoever's out there, there's going to be guys that are going to give us fantasy points. So that's kind of good. James Conner was somebody that we were trying to buy low on. I was sending out some trades for James Conner. I wasn't able to get him in a couple of leagues where I wanted him. So, well, we'll try again probably this week. Price is probably going to go up a little bit, though.
Yeah, he was definitely a good buy low, man. We had that positive regression finally for him, get you 2 TDs. That's really where a lot of his production came from last year, right? But just with that Cardinals offense, it's gonna be there, right? If he's getting those goal line carries, the goal line work. So definitely good to see. And I'm probably gonna try to still acquire him because some people might think, hey, I'm selling him high off a two touchdown game. But this was even without Kyler, right? This is with the Longhorn, Colt McCoy in there. So I think with Kyler back and James Conner healthy, I think he could still continue some of these games, obviously going forward. I think he can keep some of this up. So on another note, we have time to panic now. Is it time to panic on Swift, man? I think so. It's just been very disappointing for Swift owners. He's been getting like under like 10 opportunities a game. It was 10 a couple weeks ago. Then it was only 6 opportunities last week. This week he gets you 9 opportunities, just 6 rushing attempts. 6 rushing attempts for 6 yards. Then he gets 3 targets, only 1 reception. So Swift, if you got him right, you got him in round 1 if you drafted him, more than likely. So it's just been very disappointing for Swift, right? He's just not seemed like he's healthy. It's like, why are they bringing him back? Maybe they should just hold him out. If they're going to bring him out for 6 carries, right, or 6 touches, it's like, why even put the guy out there? So it's just kind of a weird situation. I'd rather just really he would just be right, and be out, and I could sit him on the bench and not worry about, because this is 3 weeks in a row now where you're like, should I play him? Should I not play him? Is he going to be limited? And it's not good. And we're getting closer to the fantasy playoffs. So these are like must wins for you, right? Especially for the Swift owner, because if you don't have your number 1 pick, right, you've probably been struggling and your record's probably not that good. So you need these wins right now. And Swift is just not cutting it for your fantasy lineup. So I don't know, man. I'm worried about Swift, even in Dynasty, right? That's already 2 years already where he's just kind of, when he's healthy, right, he looks great out there. But it's just the injuries and he's just underperformed at times, right? Has some lulls in the season. So I'm definitely just disappointed. And I think it's time to panic on Swift, man.
Yeah, you're probably right, man. I actually don't have many shares of him in Dynasty. I do have him in some redraft leagues, and I'm panicked on him, in the redraft leagues. Just because, we talked about this like the last couple of weeks, but teams that aren't playing for anything, they're not going to play some of these guys. And that's what I think is happening. We're kind of already seeing it, right? They're going to limit him. They're not going to, throw the everything out there, the kitchen sink at this kid because they want to save him for next year, right? It's like he's one of your best players. You're not going to just throw him out there in basically meaningless games because they're trying to lose, right? They're trying to get possibly another better quarterback in there, a QB upgrade, although Goff has looked pretty good. But they're obviously trying to not really win these games, right? And so,
Yeah.
To see Swift out there, 6, like you said, 6 rushes. I mean, geez, that's just terrible, man.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not somebody that we can start in
Your
fantasy.
first round pick.
Yeah, somebody just sent me in the guillotine. Somebody sent me Swift for Jamar Chase, and I was like, no, I think I'll wait for Chase to come back. Hopefully next week, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, so our next big thing that we want to talk about is just the explosion of the Kansas City Chiefs, right? I mean, just crazy, man. It's just weird. The storylines, oh, Tyreek's leaving. Tyreek's not going to be good with Tua. Well, that's false. Oh, and the Chiefs are going to struggle, man. They're going to stink. They might not even make the playoffs. Well, that's false, right? I think they're number 1 in the AFC with the Bills losing today, which we'll get to later. But just the Chiefs, man. I mean, I know we're talking about Toney and Pacheco, but Patrick Mahomes, man, he had an awesome game. It doesn't matter who's out there, right? No Hardman, and he's finding Kadarius Toney, right? Kadarius Toney had a good game, and MVS also had a good game
he
too.
did.
Because I played against the Kadarius Toney and MVS stack in one league, and
Their
they
wide
put up
receiver 14
16.
and 16.
Yeah, they both were solid, man, with
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, and then also Pacheco, man. So I don't know what's going on with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He was somebody that I liked in the later rounds, and it looked good for a while, And then we were talking about, do we sell now? You know what I mean? So hopefully you did. Hopefully you sold off some shares. I had him in a couple leagues, and I packaged him and sold off some shares. Um, but I do have some shares still, and so he's just not somebody. He's not even playing.
And
0
he's
carries. It's
non-existent
not
today.
even
I don't
out
know
there.
what.
Yeah, and I didn't hear anything about an injury. I didn't hear anything about, in warmups, or if he had an off the field issue. Sometimes that
Yeah,
happens. Nothing. So not looking good for Clyde Edwards-Helaire owners for sure. But Pacheco and even McKinnon, man, McKinnon I
yeah,
think is RB 16,
yeah.
or 17 on the week. So hey, he's somebody that you can probably play right in a flex position in a tough spot. I'd probably play him because he's tied to the good offense. He's going to get some targets, has a chance to get a touchdown. In that high-powered offense, man, the Chiefs are just rolling.
Yeah, and Pacheco, I mean, finally, I think it was 16 carries, man, for 82 yards. So Pacheco looks pretty good on the ground. So CEH looks like he lost that, that those carries really to Pacheco. And now the targets. Now he only had two targets, and McKinnon, like you said, was the one. He got 8 targets, 6 receptions. So CEH has just pretty much lost his job, in my opinion. He was pretty much the third RB in this rotation. So not looking good. Hopefully you sold high on CH in the beginning of the season. We did have him on our RB sales video early. I think it was like in week 3 or 4 of the season. So hopefully you sold high on him. And Kadarius Toney, man, he comes in, he looks good. Gets you, I think it was 5 targets. But what was cool too is he got 2 carries, man. 2 carries for 33 yards. So I know Juju got banged up, possibly in a concussion protocol. Maybe he
Yeah.
misses, but I still like the usage. Right, Kadarius Toney came in, he fit right in, and he's good, man. We've seen him when he's healthy and he's on the field. He can make plays, and we saw that today. Got you a touchdown, so definitely good to see, man. For this
I
young white, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I agree, and like he's the guy that it's looking like he's gonna be the guy we wish Sky Moore was,
Yeah,
right? Sky, and talking about I guess dynasty now, but Sky Moore
yeah,
is probably done. Looking like Kadarius Toney's gonna be the guy that we would hope that Sky Moore would be, but
yeah. We've been wanting it to happen for Sky Moore, and it's
yeah,
just not happening,
pouring out,
man.
pouring out for Sky Moore, man.
But this wide receiver, though, it did happen, man. We talked about in week 1, he dropped like a 60-yard bomb. And we thought, man, if he just makes one of these plays, he's the guy that just got huge play upside. And you finally saw it today. They connected on a couple of them, man. But Christian Watson, he had like a 60-something yard touchdown, 8 carries, right? Only 4 receptions, but man, like basically like Gabe Davis-esque, right? Four
Yeah,
receptions for over 100 yards.
three
Got you
TDs.
3 TDs, man, and the big one. But we've seen even like in the past with Aaron Rodgers, right? If he has like with MVS, some of those guys, they can make those big plays where they get like those 67-yard touchdowns. And we know that with Christian Watson, he's got elite speed, man. So if he can get open and if he can start connecting and getting some chemistry with Rodgers on some of those deep balls, he's going to have games like this. So he's just a good little guy to have on your roster for those flex spot, right, in a pinch, or just a boom bust guy that, hey, you're playing up against a tough opponent. You need someone in there that can get you 20 plus in your flex. I think Christian Watson going forward, if he can stay healthy, Christian Watson,
Yeah.
if he could stay healthy, because man, since training camp, he's just been in and out of the lineup, missing time with all sorts of banged up. I think he even left briefly in this game. So I don't know, but if he can stay healthy, definitely going to be a top waiver wire priority and pickup for me this week.
Yeah, he's available in a lot of leagues, man. A lot of people dropped him for
Yeah,
Romeo Dobbs, which was rightfully so, right? I mean, I don't have any shares. And what's crazy is I drafted Christian Watson in a lot of leagues, like in the late rounds. I think in one 10-team league, I got him around like 17, 18, like with the last pick, literally. And I was like, ooh, this guy's going to be my keeper. And he's just been terrible, right? So I dropped him, obviously. But yeah, for sure, he's going to be somebody that a lot of people run out to add, and I completely understand. Right, Romeo Dobbs is out. Alan Lazard didn't really have a good game. Had a couple targets, but I mean
yeah,
Christian Watson just looked like a big play threat down the field. Right, he like
yeah,
you said, Gabe Davis. That's a good.
yeah,
I think that's a pretty good comp, man.
yeah.
Um, and so we'll see. I mean, the Packers, they stink, and they needed a big win. This was a big win for them. I mean, the
Playmaker.
Cowboys up 14. It looked like a game that they were gonna just win, and of course they find a way to lose, like they always do, man. So kind of stinks if you're a
Yeah,
Cowboys fan. I'm a Cowboys fan, but It is what it is, man. So
Yeah. One positive in the Cowboys, though. Go ahead, Ryan.
I don't know what's the positive.
Wide receiver.
Oh, CD Lamb, baby. So CD Lamb is a positive, right? So
Yes, sir.
elite showing wide receiver 1 on the week, right? So CD Lamb, man. Oh, I love CD Lamb. And it's hard because I'm a huge Longhorn fan, so I hate everything Oklahoma. But for some reason, I've always liked CD Lamb. He was a big talent in the college, and he's kind of shown like flashes, but he's never shown a game like this, right? He
Yeah.
was the best wide receiver on the field on Sunday. Well, I guess maybe Christian Watson was close, but no, CeeDee Lamb just made big plays and he
Yeah.
looked elite. And that's why
Yeah.
the Cowboys drafted him. And we always talk about, I guess more so for Dynasty, like where does CeeDee Lamb rank? And a lot of people have had him in the top 5, 6 because of his age, because he's tied to the Cowboys offense. And it just hasn't looked good, right?
Yeah.
And today, at least for today, he put it together, man. He showed that he can be an elite wide receiver in this league. So hopefully it's something that the Cowboys can build on, man. Hopefully even Dak can kind of start trusting him more. Because I saw some plays today where he wasn't really that open, and Dak just threw it up there to him, and CeeDee Lamb went and made the play, kind of like the way Kirk Cousins is with Justin Jefferson. Like,
Yeah.
if you watch the way Justin Jefferson plays, some of those catches are like, man, just crazy. Like he's not really open, and somehow just finds a way to catch the ball. That's kind of what CeeDee Lamb did today, also. And so, I mean, I like it, man. For my dynasty shares, I have a lot of dynasty shares of CeeDee Lamb, and so I've been holding and holding and holding, and so hopefully, it'll pay off for me down the stretch. But it was good to see at least that from the Cowboys.
Yeah, definitely, man. He commanded the ball, man. 15 targets. He went 11 for 15, so he was efficient with it. 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. So definitely good to see. Finally, right? He's been ranked, like you said, pretty high, right? And it seemed like it was almost overrated for a while. It's like, man, I don't know. He
Yes.
hasn't really produced that big, but he had Dak right out most of last season. Then now finally he has his shot, and he's done pretty good with it. But today it was like if you had him, right, it's definitely good to see. And hopefully he can continue this going forward. I think if he can get those double-digit targets, which he should command in that Cowboys offense, I think we could see some big games, right? Definitely around 20 points, but definitely good to see 38 points for Mr. CeeDee Lamb. And now moving into quarterback of the week, Justin Fields again, man. He's got to be a league winner, dude. If he keeps even half of this up, like just off your waiver wire, basically follows up back-to-back 40-point performances. He had 42 last week, basically gets you 40 this week, got you 39. But Justin Fields, he had the same amount of rushing yards as JT. Like JT had himself a night. We're like, man, JT is back. 147 yards for JT, 147 yards for Justin Fields, man. That's nuts. He went 13 for 147, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Then he had 12 for 167, but he did throw. He did throw for 2 TDs also, man. So good to see 39 points for Justin Fields. He's looking like an elite fantasy option right now, dude. Like the Lamar Jackson, right? Like the Jalen Hurts. It seems like it's Justin Fields this year, man. It was a good matchup. Has another good matchup next week. And so we'll see if he keeps it up, man. But it's looking like he's definitely getting into that elite option for fantasy right now. What do you think about Justin Fields?
I mean, I like him, man. What's crazy is he was on waivers in a lot of leagues for weeks and weeks and
Yeah,
weeks. And he's come on the last 5 or 6 weeks. He's like QB1 overall the last 4 or 5 weeks.
yeah,
Um, and what's crazy about Justin Fields, man, is like in super flex leagues, like golly, he's saving me in a lot of leagues. Like
yeah.
I don't even have running backs in a couple of super flex leagues. Like my running backs, DeAndre Swift, and
Or
I
Foreman or
could,
somebody.
yeah,
Foreman
and
had a good night.
yeah, Foreman had a good night, but it's like, I don't. He's just saving me. Mahomes and Fields are just putting up so many points. It's a
Yeah,
huge advantage
yeah,
especially in super flex leagues, right?
yeah,
If you're starting 9 or 10 guys, so to
yeah,
get that many points from your quarterbacks and your super flex is just crazy. He's saving me in a lot of those leagues. So hopefully he can keep it up, man. And so Montgomery hasn't looked very good. And it just seems like the Bears coaching staff has figured out, oh, this is how we need to use Justin Fields. It's like finally somebody showed him a tape of Ohio State. Oh, do you know your quarterback? He can actually run pretty good, right?
yeah,
And so, it's just opening it up a lot for him. And then Cole Kmet, man, he's the other guy.
yeah,
I mean, I stacked Fields and Komet in a lot of DFS leagues this week, and I want some good coffee money for the week, man. So hopefully he can keep it up. Hopefully Cole Komet can keep it up because it's nice to see Justin Fields just being productive and kind of breaking that narrative, right, about the Ohio State quarterbacks that they just don't do well in the NFL. So hopefully he can keep it up. And I know you have a lot of shares of him in dynasties in our Superflex league. So I know you had talked a while back about trading him. So looking good. Glad you didn't trade him. I
I
should have
wanted to
sent you
trade
some
him. I was
offers.
ready to trade him.
Yeah, I should have sent you some offers when I could. Now it's not gonna happen. But
Yeah, that buy low window is done, man.
yep,
And you know what's crazy? What you're saying, like the advantage that he's giving you. Okay, on the QB3 of the week, which is doing another guy doing great. We'll talk about in a little bit. Tua Tagovailoa, 23 points for him, but 16-point difference from Justin Fields and the QB3 on the week.
it's
That's
crazy.
crazy, man. That's just a huge advantage in line. And last week it was the same. He had 42. He actually had more points last week. So going into another rookie running back that we like, Rachaad White, man, shines with some opportunity. Finally got some opportunity. Went over 100 yards rushing, 22 carries. I was excited. I didn't know, but I heard later that Fournette was out. I thought, man, Rachaad White just took over, but apparently he left with a hip injury or something like that. But even early on in the game, Rachaad White was getting work. They were splitting a series. I think even one he like called for Leonard Fournette. Like, we had rumors about Fournette being upset, losing work to Rachaad White. I think Rachaad White was being a nice guy, dude, because he was on a good series doing well, and he just looked to the sideline and waved for them to bring in Fournette. I think I was like, dude, come on, stay in there, man. He was doing good. But even what I like most, the 100-yard rushing game, but at the end of the game on the line, man, the last 4 minutes, Rachaad White got him some big first downs, dude. So I think he earned a lot of trust of the locker room and the coaching staff with this game, man. And Leonard Fournette, we know, we've been saying he just hasn't looked good. He hasn't looked good. Rachaad White definitely looked good today. He was running patient, right? The line doesn't look good, though. He did have a goal line carry, but the line just collapsed on him, right? So when he does have some time, when he does have some openings, he can definitely make some plays, man. So what did you think about Rachaad White today?
It was good to see, man. He's somebody that we have been saying, hey, he's gonna little by little, he's getting more and more workload, more and more volume, and Leonard Fournette hasn't really been that effective or productive, right? He's been okay, obviously, because he's getting a lot of usage. He's getting some touchdowns on the goal line, and but like you said, he got banged up, and so it opened up this opportunity for Rashad White, and he did well. And so
Yeah.
it's going to be interesting to see, like, is Fournette going to miss a week or two, or is he going to play? And then even if he does play, like, I mean, I think Rachaad White has to have earned himself more playing time. Maybe it's not a 50-50 split, but it's got to be pretty close, man.
Yeah. So heading into Tua and the Dolphins, man. You want to talk about Tua?
Yeah, man. So Tua, man, again, just somebody that everybody just dogged on him, right? And I think I've said this before, but I was trying to trade away Tua because I didn't really like him, but I couldn't even get in super flexes. The offers I was getting for Tua were just god awful. Like, I'm like, dude, I'm not going to trade a quarterback in a super flex dynasty for that, third round picks, or
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you how bad they were, just not good. And now I'm just looking back and saying I'm glad that I held on to him.
Yep.
It just goes to show you, man, sometimes it takes time for these young quarterbacks, like with Fields and with Tua.
Maybe Pickett,
Oh
maybe
yeah,
something to think
I
about.
can already see it with Pickett, man. I watched all that game because I have Najee, a bunch of Najee shares everywhere, and
100
Najee,
yards.
yeah, I mean he gave us like 8 points because he fumbled, no
Yeah.
targets, but still, man, 100 yards on the ground, had a 30 or 40 yard run, and so I like Najee. He's a buy low for me in Dynasty. I don't care what anybody says. And the other guy is Pickett. I think next year Kenny Pickett could be this year's Tua, but that'll be a Dynasty show we do later.
Yeah.
But Tua, man, just with those guys, man, Tyreek and Waddle, and then even now Sherfield's catching
Sherfield did
touchdowns.
something today,
Jeff
man.
Wilson, dude. Jeff Wilson is a beast. Jeff Wilson saved me, dude.
Yeah,
He
man.
saved me in our guillotine league. I have one running back in that league, and it's Joe Mixon, right? And I'm stacked at wide receiver, and I have Jalen Hurts, right? It was a 20-team guillotine, so you're going to be weak. And Jeff Wilson, because Joe Mixon's on a bye, Jeff Wilson got me 27 points, right, with all the bonuses and stuff, because there's bonuses in that league. So it's like, man, he saved me, man, this week. And I think so. I think we're down to like the final 6 or 7 people in that league. So
Yeah.
hopefully Mixon comes back and can have a good game for me next week. But yeah, the Dolphins offense, man, you just want pieces of that offense, whether it's Mostert, whether it's Wilson, whether it's Waddle. I started Waddle in DFSs, and he gave me a solid performance too. Tua was a solid play in DFS, or in my super flex. I have a couple of super flex leagues where I have him as my QB2. And he's playing well, man. QB3, like you said on the week. So
Yeah, man, and he's been sitting around in that top 5 for the past couple weeks to us, so definitely
yeah, he's
impressive,
been
man.
consistent.
Yeah, he has been, and Jeff Wilson, dude, just comes in and takes over. We said it last week, right? He came in, pretty much split carries in his first outing, right? Just fresh off the plane. Now today, he led them in carries again, 17 carries, 120 yards, man, on the ground. Definitely good. Gets his rushing TD, gets you 5 targets. Mostert was good too, though. Mostert looked good. Mostert's explosive. We all know that, right? 8 carries, 65 yards, got a rushing touchdown, also got you 4 targets. So definitely cool, man. But you know what? Alec Ingold, RB13. It's like they had 3 top 15 RBs this week. Like, what in the world? They smashed. I think they had like 39 points or something. They did
Yeah.
good. So Alec Ingold even got you some carries, got you a touchdown, man. I mean, he got some targets, 4 targets, 40 yards, and a touchdown. Got you 14 fantasy points, right? Not nothing worth mentioning, I don't think, for like waiver show or anything, but still interesting enough, right, to see. And going in to our next guy, we have Rondale Moore, man. Definitely
Rondale,
keeping
baby.
it up.
Mini Tyreek, my mini Tyreek.
I wouldn't go
I
that.
got, yeah, I know. I'm just playing. I have so many shares of Rondell in Dynasty, and I sold off a little bit more than half of them, but I have them in a couple, man. And I've been starting them because I have Jamar Chase in a lot of leagues, and he's been hurt, and it's a start 4 wide receivers. Rondell's been nice, man. Wide receiver
Yeah,
15
man.
on the week. Is he going to keep it up when Marquise comes back? Probably not. Not to this degree, but it's still nice to see, man. 13 targets, 9
Yeah.
catches, 94 yards, wide receiver 15 on the week. And that's with Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
That's not even with Kyler Murray. So Rondale, man, I like him in dynasty leagues, man. He's a solid player for bye weeks, somebody that you can put as your wide receiver 2 or 3, and hopefully he has a lot of upside, man, with that speed and that offense. And so we'll see. I might try to see. I know you want him. We'll see if you send me any offers for him.
Yeah, I think I have him in one of the dynasties, but I get mixed up. We have so many, man. But dude, that's basically 5 out of the last 6 weeks, 8+ targets. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
impressed with the 13, but he's still like for 5 weeks, well, 6 weeks, he's been getting 8+ targets. It was 8, 10, then he had a low, right? 2, then 8, 10, and 13 again. So he goes 9 for 90 on today. So 18 fantasy points for Rondo Moore. And like you said, man, he's explosive. He can make plays. And now if he's getting the targets, getting the opportunity, definitely good to see. I think he's going to keep it up. We'll see if Marquise Brown comes back. He should be designated to come back pretty soon here. So it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds with everybody back. And Kyler too. So Kyler's got some weapons. He's got no excuse, man. He's got no excuse. He's got to play better once everybody's back, once he's back.
Yeah, for sure.
So going into our game of the week, man, I know we're excited. I took off my Vikings gear because I wore it last week. I didn't want to be a homer again. But
I'll be a homer.
geez, Bills, Vikings, man. Vikings take down the Bills.
Yep. Huge game, man. Just a huge game. I love the Vikings, and this is going to be this last 5 minutes or whatever is going to be all homerism. But I heard all week, like just on the national like stage, and then even like people like, friends saying, well, that, sending me memes and stuff about how the Vikings haven't beat anybody good, or you know what I mean. I'm like, dude, 7-1 in the NFL is 7-1. You know what I mean? You can only beat whoever you have in front of you. So it was just good to see them have this signature win in Buffalo, in a place where Buffalo is hard to win. And then Buffalo lost last week. So Buffalo, you knew they were going to come in. You were going to get their best game. I know that Allen, I guess we could say he's not 100%, but he looked pretty darn good to me. The Vikings got down early. They were down 21-7 in that game, and they just kept battling, man. Their defense made some big plays down the stretch. Obviously, the huge interception in overtime, the butt fumble, whatever that was, and say what you want. Kirk Cousins, Kirk Cousins made some plays, man. I know he's not elite, he's not Josh Allen, but if you give the guy time, if he has time, he can find weapons. And Justin Jefferson, dude, he's number one wide receiver for Dynasty, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And I know Chase is great too. So, I have shares of both, but I love Justin Jefferson, man. That guy's just a gamer. He made, I don't want to say the best catch I've ever seen, but
It
man,
is.
that
It is.
was awesome. I mean, that catch was, I guess you could say it wasn't like in a big stage, like the Super Bowl catch that, the guy from the Giants made. That was pretty awesome with the
David Tyree.
yeah, with the stage. That was probably one of the greatest catches I've ever seen.
Yeah, the
But
helmet catch.
his catch was just awesome, dude, to rip it away from one. He had a huge game, wide
Yeah.
receiver 2 on the week, 35 points. It was just great. Dalvin Cook had a good game.
Yeah.
So Hawkinson was solid. I don't know what Hawkinson ended
10
up with,
targets
but
again.
I mean,
10 targets again.
he's going to be somebody that's just going to continue to do well in that offense because there's just too many weapons, man. You have Cook out of the backfield. You have Thielen. You have Osborne, who made some plays. I think Osborne had a touchdown too.
He had
and
like
if he didn't, he was close.
Too.
He might have gotten tackled right at the goal line, but he had some nice plays. I mean, Vikings offense, man, if they can just hold the line and give Kirk Cousins some time, he can beat a defense, right? So it was just a great game. It's the game of the year for sure. Game of the year for sure. And the Bills were good too, man. Diggs had a good game.
Diggs and Davis.
Single carry. I started single carry in a couple leagues just because I don't have running backs. And he had 2 touchdowns for me.
He was looking like Joe Mixon. First, I was like, man, this guy's gonna have a Joe Mixon game on me. I'm like, dude, he had 2 touchdowns early on. I was like, shoot, man, I'm gonna get killed by Singletary.
That was pretty funny.
Diggs and Gabe Davis had big nights too. I think they're wide receiver like 7 and 9 on the week. So and then, dude, that is the best catch. Like that degree of difficulty for that catch. He jumps like full extension, top of his jump. The other dude behind him had both hands on the ball, and to come down with it on the ground and just keep on to that, dude. That's the greatest catch I've ever seen. And I wanted to play the video. I should have had it keyed up so we could play it during this.
Yeah, and then also too, like that Gabe Davis catch wasn't a catch, dude. The refs missed that one. They should have stopped it. They should have reviewed it. The game really should have been over at that point, right? Or maybe not over, but I guess it would have been like 3rd down or whatever it was.
Or if Cousins wouldn't have tripped over himself on the
he did that twice
goal or second goal.
Twice. I don't know.
He could have just handed it to Cook. Yeah. And Dalvin Cook, man, brought us back with that big 81-yard run. That was like the momentum swinger because we were down like 3 scores or something at that time. We were down pretty big. Maybe it was like 24-10 or something like that. And he got that big touchdown run late in the 3rd that definitely gave us a big spark.
Yeah, he had a big game, RB4 really on the week. So good to see, man. We got another tough game next week against the Cowboys. So we'll see how it goes.
Yep. All right, guys. So if you guys enjoyed this show, that's all we have for you. Be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys with our waiver video that will be coming out tomorrow night. So be sure to check it down below.